What's going on, Divas Unleashed? I'm Gary Cook, and this is part 2 of Divas Dive, where we are doing a mock draft for the WWE and their Superstar Shakeup they have coming up this week. If you haven't seen the Raw video, go give that one a look after you finish this one. And then the third part will be coming out shortly. That will cover NXT and how I see that being reshuffled and who the top talent down there for the win should be for the next generation while these two rosters sort themselves out. So let's jump on in and get going with our SmackDown draft. Click in here so I can flip through things. There we go. So just a reminder. What in the... How did that break? There we go. That was weird. Alright. Anyway, I don't know why that screen's broken, but we'll go with it. So once again, the goals of the draft. Balance SmackDown and Raw. Each brand needs to have a strong upper, mid, and lower card that is relatively balanced. And each brand needs a good number of tag teams. This worked out to be 5 tag teams on each brand. As you see my picks for the upper, mid, and lower cards, you should get a pretty good idea of who the tag teams are going to be. Though I think there is one surprise on this one that I don't think people will see coming. So, with that said, it's time to make SmackDown Live great. Now, I am working under the assumption that Becky will not be holding 2 belts and that there is no title unification. I know there's been some rumors of it, but nothing has been confirmed by WWE as of the time of this recording. So we're assuming that Becky is going to be losing a belt sometime soon, which leaves us with an open SmackDown's Women's Championship. Because if you watch the Raw, you know Becky holds that one. So who do I think she's going to lose it to? Sasha Banks. This also, spoiler alert if you haven't watched a Raw one, splits up the Boston Hug connection for the best. I'm not going to get into all the Sasha drama that's going on right now, because that's a video all on its own that will be coming out later this week, hopefully. I haven't fully decided if I want to do that yet, just because of how ridiculous some people are being with that. But needless to say, the WWE has just been throwing championships at people who are looking to leave the company, and I think Sasha needs to go back to being a heel anyway, and not being in a tag team where she is awful. So I feel like a feud with Becky, where we get the boss back as the actual boss being a heel, would work wonders and make her a much happier employee. And I think she is just the woman to be the face of SmackDown Live after everything that has gone down under the year of Ronda that has ruined so many of the names on the roster. But every great champion needs a great upper card. So let's see who would be vying for Sasha's belt. First up, Charlotte Flair. You need the star power. And I don't think anybody wants to see Becky versus Charlotte round 34 so soon. So I feel like Charlotte's going to stay here. And as with the Raw review, we moved Asuka off the show. So that leaves Charlotte to be the #1 contender. And I feel like a Charlotte versus Sasha feud could be really well, especially with everything that's happened to Sasha when it comes to being displaced by Charlotte and blondes in the past. A good chance for some revenge and good stories there. Next up, Ember Moon. She's a great worker. She's definitely an A+ talent in the ring. She's pretty good on the mic, and she deserves a lot more than she's gotten. And let's face it, a Sasha versus Ember series of matches could be something special. And I feel like Ember will do a lot better on the SmackDown side than she does on the Raw side, just given that she is much more of an in-ring storyteller than a verbal one. Mandy Rose, this is my controversial pick for the upper card. I don't necessarily agree that her talent is 100% there to be this far up, but she is being pushed that way. And they started building her this way with the Asuka feuds, and I feel like they're going to continue doing it. And I also feel like it gives somebody that has hung a chance to continue to hang. As my cat attacks, everybody say hi to Nala. Hello, everybody. Now down you go. All right, so it's probably going to happen a few more times because she is in a snuggle mood today. So who else do we have on our upper card? Kairi Sane. I think she's getting called up, and if she is definitely a top-tier competitor that can put on great matches. I don't think they'll put the belt on her, but I think she could have some great matches with Charlotte, with Ember, and with Mandy to keep things interesting and keep people's attention on the top women that are here. And if we bring Kairi up, we need to bring Io up. Or Io up. As they are here not so much for the singles matches they can have, but for the tag team matches they can have, as I'm sure many of you guessed. But while they're here, when they're not wrestling as a tandem, they both could put on amazing matches with the other women in the upper echelon to keep things exciting and fast-paced. And then there have been rumors spreading for a while that this woman is coming to the main roster. And I think if she does, SmackDown is the spot for her, and I think she could be that monster of a woman that the WWE has been lacking. Her size, her power, her strength, she could power through these women and be a real physical threat. And I think her and Sasha would have some great ring work given the size difference and the styles that they both work. So I think Rhea Ripley coming up would be a good move for everybody involved. Then if you're going to have a strong upper card, though, you need a strong mid card to keep feeding it and to eventually develop into your upper card. So, oh, that's right, I forgot. Ignore what I was saying. Nikki Cross, how could I forget about her? Oh yeah, WWE never books her. That's a problem. She adds just a total unpredictable factor to the top of the card. She puts on great matches. Her personality's all over the place. Her character is just an agent of chaos. And an agent of chaos can add a lot of fun to things and really make a mess of the boss's or the queen's plans for how things should go. And I think Nikki Cross has the talent to be at the top of the card. It's just time for her to get the chance to shine. Now we're on our mid-card talents that I was jumping the gun there. So, Peyton Royce. This one might be a bit controversial. I'm basing it off of what she's done pre-WWE, where she has put on great matches, both in NXT and in the Indies. And if they would let her work that style again, I think you would see her getting a whole lot more fans, and I think she could be a solid mid-card talent. I don't think she'd get used much as a singles wrestler, given that she's the tag team champion and part of one of the strongest tag teams they currently have. But on the off chance they do decide to throw the girls into some singles matches to build up tag team matches, I feel like Peyton Royce matches up as the stronger of the two. Dana Brooke, making the jump from Raw to SmackDown. I feel like she has a wave behind her. I think we saw that at WrestleMania, that she's got some support going. But I don't think the Raw brand is a good fit for her. She's been buried there. And she's been horribly misused during the year of Ronda. I think a fresh start with a new brand would give her the chance to really build on what has been given to her and on the momentum she has from the crowd given the past few weeks of the Give Dana a Chance movement. So I think she needs to go blue brand to reinvent herself there. I'm pulling up Mia Yim from NXT. She's a great worker. She's got serious skill in the ring. She does great work on the mic. She's got a ton of personality. And she has worked big matches before when she was in TNA. I feel like she's very polished and probably one of the most polished that they have in NXT. And they need to start taking advantage of that to really balance out these rosters and give good competition in this mid to upper card area. And I feel like she's one of the ones that could easily transcend from the mid card to the upper card and kind of be one of those pieces that can go where she's needed and put on a great match with anybody. Alicia Fox, she's a former champion. She's been here a while. She has some name recognition to her. She's not the strongest in the ring of the current crop of talent they have, but she's not the worst. She's a veteran that if they start using right, if she keeps her act clean, could be an asset as a gatekeeper to get into that lower upper card area. And she's also another one that could fluctuate up and down some. I don't see her getting a title shot anytime soon, and I don't see her being a major player in the upper card, but I feel like she could be a great person to help balance out the women's roster and help develop the younger talents, as well as being rebuilt as that gatekeeper to make sure that only the best of the best are going to be getting pushes up in the card in the future. Sarah Logan, we have split the Riot Squad because we had Ruby Riot over on the upper card of Raw. Sarah Logan, to me, is the next strongest in the pack of three. And given the showing that she had at the Battle Royal at WrestleMania, I feel like there's only good things to come for her. And I feel like being on SmackDown would give her a chance to really be that bully in the middle of the card that represents the Riot Squad and can kind of be that powerful presence in the mid card that Rhea Ripley is in the upper card. Now, I know some people are going to be upset that the Riot Squad is now split between shows, but I feel like the way their group is structured, it would make sense for them to be able to cross over at times when needed for story purposes, because they're all about causing chaos and mayhem. So I don't really see what reason they would have to play by the rules and not cross over when needed. So I feel like they're a faction that could easily transcend the draft and kind of have their main homes, but move across as others need it. Sonya Deville, I know, is going to cause some stir being in the mid card and not the upper card with Mandy, but this is purely just based off how they've been booked so far. Mandy's been booked stronger, and I feel like Sonya needs to get a few wins under her belt as a singles competitor and prove to the WWE universe as a whole that she belongs in that top tier with Mandy. She's made some good steps in the Battle Royal, but I think she needs some individual wins over people like a Sarah Logan and Alicia Fox, a Dana Brooke, a Mia Yim. I feel like those would give her some credibility that she's currently lacking to stack up against Mandy Rose, who has a win over Asuka and things like that. Whether it was legitimate or not is up for debate. It's still a win on the books for Mandy Rose over Asuka, which gives her some legitimacy when comparing records. So the lower card, your enhancement talent to help new girls get up, to help build up talent, to feed these upper places, and to build your future. I feel like this is where Lana's going to be staying, as she didn't come up as a wrestler. She only started her in-ring work very late in her career, and there's still just a lot of growth to do. She's not at a point yet where her in-ring work would warrant her being in title contention, but she could be used on some matches to help bolster the middle card workers, as well as developing her own career as a wrestler and seeing if she can get the skills to progress and become more than what she is, because currently she is probably one of the weakest women on the roster. So I wouldn't see her getting much of a workout, but being a good support player down here. Then I would move up to Nara Conte. I'm sure I just butchered your name. I am sorry, Tay. But she is a great worker. She's put on some great matches in NXT. I don't really see them having a place for her there. And I feel like she's one of those people that would benefit from getting the call up, as there's not much for her to do on NXT right now. There's not really a place for her in any of the stories that I see coming out of TakeOver or the crop of women coming up. But I feel like she has the talent, and she would really benefit from having main event and house shows to work to fine-tune her craft and really build up her skill set as a worker in this company. And I feel like she will be a valuable asset. Plus, it gives some more international flair to the roster, which is always a good thing. And she has a legitimate martial arts background, so it's a lot to build on there that I feel like they could capitalize on in the future with her. Liv Morgan, the last member of the Riot Squad. Highly entertaining personality. Her ring antics are amazing, but I feel like she belongs in a tag team at this point. To use the common phrase, she is the Janetti of the Riot Squad. Really strong in tag team work. We haven't seen that much from her in singles work, but she has been steadily improving. So that could change. But as of right now, I feel like she is the weakest member of the Riot Squad. And she would give some... She could easily pick up some wins over Alana and Ate, as well as lose some and not really lose value. But she would gain a lot of experience being utilized amongst them. Kind of like she currently is now on house shows and things like that. But I feel like her value really lies in the tag team division, which they need to focus on and really be building their teams up. So I don't see her getting a ton of singles work, so I don't really see it being here or there where she gets placed as far as the singles talent goes. Maurice is still technically on the books as an active wrestler, according to the website. She is a former Divas champion. Not a very good in-ring worker. She kind of falls with Lana, where she's a name. She can fill in. She can help build stories up, especially with her having the TV show in The Miz. She's good for some hype and building things up around there. But I don't see her going anywhere really. I don't really see her wanting to be an active competitor, but I could see her coming through for storylines and one-offs to enhance things for the women. Billie Kay, by far the weaker member of the Iconics, but I don't see her working many singles matches because I see the Iconics being a staple and cornerstone of the tag division moving forwards from here on out. Maria Kanellis, definitely I feel like is not lower card talent, but has been booked very poorly. I feel like she would have to start out down here just because I don't feel like the current fandom of the universe fully appreciates what she could bring to the ring. But I feel like she would be somebody you could start building up at this lower tier and steadily move her up the card and kind of bring a member of the Diva era back to prominence that could compete with today's stars on the show and be a real contender in the future. She just needs some TLC to get her back on track in order to get there, as she's been very misbooked and mishandled and very much is just seen as a valet right now to her husband on 205. So I feel there's a lot of work that needs to go into her to get her up to that point. Tag teams. Of course, the Iconics. I don't care what you say. They're one of the best tag teams they have right now. They deserve to be the champions. It was the right call to give them the belts. They just need to be placed and positioned with the right teams to work with. And I feel like they will grow on people as they're allowed to do more, as they expand on their slippery cheating heel gimmick. I think it works really well for them. The Riot Squad over here live in Sarah Logan. I feel like the Elimination Chamber, we saw how amazing they work as a team, and then we haven't seen anything since. It doesn't seem fair. It feels like that is what they should be, because Ruby is by far the standout talent when it comes to singles wrestling of the three, that these two really need to be injected into that tag division to add some personality and life to it, because they're so different than everybody else that they have in the tag division. So I'd really like to see them become a focal point of the tag teams, and I feel like keeping Ruby on Raw and moving the Riot Squad over to SmackDown would allow both sides to really shine on their own and then bring them back together as needed. Fire and Desire, I like them as a team. I like their showing at the Elimination Chamber. I mean, they were the ones that went the distance with Bayley and Sasha, and then they just got tossed aside. And I feel like their showing warrants a much better spot in the tag team division, and I feel like they could bring some star power that the current tag division is lacking, with just having it focused around Boss and Hug and the Samoan Slaughterhouse and Divas of Doom outside of the Iconics, with Divas of Doom being the only team of that really left, especially in my draft where I broke up Boss and Hug, and the Samoan Slaughterhouse is on Raw. With Nia being injured, they're going to be out of action for the foreseeable future. So I feel like letting Fire and Desire find their footing in the tag division will only help. Sky Pirates, of course, are a must. They are amazing and probably the best in-ring tag team that the WWE has. I'm hoping they're coming up this week with Paige as the surprise tag team. I don't want them to beat the Iconics first time out, because I feel like that will be a disservice to the Iconics and a disservice to the tag team belts as a whole, losing them so quickly and kind of playing hot potato with them. But I do think they will be a force to be reckoned with. And I feel like given the history of the WWE and their treatment of people who aren't native English speakers, being a tag team will work in their favor, and having Paige as a mouthpiece would also work in their favor. Though it would be interesting to see how Paige fits in with the whole Sky Pirates gimmick they have going on and how they work that out. But I have faith in the three of them to figure it out and make it work, because they're three great talents that deserve the spotlight. And I feel like the best way for them to get that spotlight is in the tag team division. Then last, Mia Yim and Tay Conti. They've teamed up a few times in NXT, and they look really good as a team. I feel like they have really good chemistry. Their looks match really well as well. I feel like they could go far working together on the main roster as a tag team. I mean, they need to work on entrances, names, moves. You'd have to see how that goes. But the few showings we've seen together, they've worked well, and I feel like they would both benefit from being in the tag division over purely singles competition, as the singles division is very, very crowded right now. So I feel like this would be the best way for them to get highlighted. They probably wouldn't be a tag team forever, but I think it would be a great way to establish them coming out of NXT is as a tag team unit, showing off their skills and their personality. And then down the line, as the tag team division gets stronger and you have more legitimate teams coming up that are focused purely on tag team wrestling, you can split them apart and let them start going for singles runs and things like that. So those are my thoughts for SmackDown Live. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all of our ideas, thoughts, and opinions on women's wrestling. I look forward to seeing your feedback in the comments below, and we'll be engaging at random as we see comments. So leave a reply, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I want to hear it all. And look forward to live tweeting the draft with you all and seeing how far off I am in all of this and what awful choices they actually make in creative. So enjoy this episode and be on the lookout for part 3, where we talk NXT. Have a great night, everybody.